Alright, welcome back to the backmarker update. Today we're going to be looking at the Daytona 200 ARCA Series race, and we're going to be looking at our backmarkers as well as some highlights from the race. So the winner of the race was Gus Dean, and our backmarkers finished 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 5th, 13th, 16th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 26th, 27th, 30th, 34th, 35th, 36th, and 40th. So we've been looking at each one individually, but first I want to look at the incidents of the night. So we had 7 cautions, which is pretty rare for an ARCA Series race to have that few cautions. Usually it's a wreck fest, but this race wasn't that big of a wreck fest. So we have 8 incidents to look at here, so let's get started with the first wreck that happened on lap 17, and it took out a bunch of contenders early on. And this wreck was a multi-car wreck that, of course, happened in turn 2. It just happened from someone turning. I believe it was the 97 that was turned into. Let's go back here. I think it was. Yeah, it was a 90. So it was a 93 being turned into the 25, 18, 10, 28, and 63. Got caught up. The 10 ARCA braked, as I said in the second clip here. We will see the 10 car flying in, left hand bottom of your screen. You'll see the 10 car of Ed Pompa just completely fly in right there and total his car, because this is the ARCA Series, and ARCA brakes is basically what Ed Pompa is most famous for. He's the guy that got stuck on the banking last year when he tried to back up his car onto the banking and got stuck. So yeah, he's not really that good at driving, but he's racing for fast track, so what do you expect? Anyway, the next caution that happened was the 74 losing a tire and wrecking hard into the wall. The camera turns back and just sees her car just wrecking out. Manny Chick's not that great of a driver, but she did attempt a full-time season last year, so I guess I can't really fault her too much. She did just lose a tire, and it was just unfortunate. The next incident of the night was the 32 of Christian Rose being spun, but he was able to save his car in the tri-oval, which is the hardest part of the track to pass, and to save your car. So luckily he did not injure his car and actually ended up getting a good finish in this race. So hats off to Christian Rose. He's not a backmarker in my opinion, but some people think he is. But this was an incredible save from the tri-oval. Anyway, as we see in our incident report, the next 2 wrecks are multi-car accidents involving 5 cars and 4 cars. So let's get this off started with, I believe, our backstretch wreck, our first backstretch wreck of the night, which I think is what the thumbnail is based on. Yep. The 4 car spins out, the 17 gets spun, hits the 4, sends him into the grass, and the 17 comes back and collects a bunch of cars, including Armani Williams. Our next wreck is a multi-car wreck, I believe, off turn 4. It starts with a 99, and I believe the next car, I believe he just spins out. Yep, hard inside hit into the outside wall. Collects some more cars behind him, but it's just ARCA brakes at that point. Nothing unusual. The next wreck is Marco Andretti. I believe he loses a tire, and his whole entire car just engulfs in flames. So, unfortunate, but yeah, he just flies in there. It looks like Martin Truex in 2016, just completely on fire, blown an engine maybe, but I think he just lost a tire and then wrecked off through the baking, and then the baking caused his car to slam down, and that probably caused something in the motor to catch on fire. Scary incident, but he walked away unscathed, so pretty good for Marco Andretti. And then the final last lap incident of the day was when Andrew Perez was riding another car. Started when Jake Finch got turned, went in the outside wall, hard impact, and then Lara and Perez rode I believe it was the 73 car of Jankowic, and he rode himself into the fence, climbed the fence, then got back on all 4 wheels, walked away, no harm foul, but it did make the race end under caution, which makes it a 2 out of 2 wreck weekend for wrecks on the final lap that end to cautions. Winners not getting back to the checkered, which sucks, but that also gives us a 2 out of 2 for airborne wrecks, because we had Taylor Gray flipping his truck in the truck race, and Andrew Perez, Delara, was in the air for a little while, rode the fence, and then came back on all four wheels. So at least both wrecks, both drivers were uninjured and walked away. So let's look now at our back markers. So our back markers that did not qualify, Eric Claudel. I'm going to do a video on Eric Claudel because I think he got paid off by Pristine Motorsports to withdraw. He qualified 17th, but then he withdrew his car after Shane Van Gisbergen was one car out of the show. I think there was a little backroom deal for them to withdraw the car because Eric Claudel was doing a pretty good job, and there wasn't anything wrong with his car. He just withdrew after Shane missed it by one. And if Claudel withdrew, then Shane would get in. So I think there's a little backroom door deal there. I don't know about you guys, but I think there was. And I'm going to do a video on that one because I think that is something to talk about. Then we have the 95 of Brian Laster, just couldn't get it in. Chuck Bunham, racing for himself, wasn't able to get in. DeChâtel, brother-in-law racing, they barely got Duzat in, so it was kind of unfortunate. Koga, I wish he got in, but a fifth fast track car just wasn't going to make it. AJ Moyer, just not fast enough. Monopoly is actually unfortunate because mixed with Mike Harmon Racing, you would think that the Mike Harmon Racing guys would be able to make that car at least somewhat faster, but unfortunately not much they could do. Rise Motorsports with Mitch Gibbon, I feel bad because Mitch Gibbon, I really do like Rise. I like what the Golettes are doing, but I feel like Rita Golette should be driving the Daytona car just so they can make it in. Dale Shear, sheer speed, not enough speed apparently. And then Coney Denson in the 86. Club Racing, I think they should just stick with one car for now, and if they want to run another car, they need to run it full time because they can't just show up to Daytona and post speeds that are that slow. They need to actually bring a car that's somewhat competitive in qualifying. Anyway, let's look at our back markers that actually made the show. Sean Corr got an impressive starting spot, but luckily he finished 30th, so that's a -10. Ed Pompa, of course, finished poorly because of his ARCA brakes moment, -4. Hagerberg, -14. Bad day for fast track, but Ryan Litt did get +14, so that's something to smile about at least. Armani Williams got caught up in that last wreck crash on the last lap, but he ended up at +13, so that's pretty good. Marco Andretti finished exactly where he started, but, he was just trying to survive, best what he could do. Tim Richmond was unfortunate, but he still did get a top 5, so I think I may move him out of the back markers because I don't think he's a back marker if he keeps getting top 5s like that. He was pretty competitive. Isaac Johnson, second Van Els car. Van Els finished pretty good, but this car was okay. Still got a top 20, but -9 on the day. Ryan Huff doing Ryan Huff things. Finished decent after qualifying pretty impressively. -11 though. I cannot say T. Enizua's name, so I'm very sorry about that. But 44 car did pretty well, +16. The fourth highest gain of the night, which is pretty cool. Brad Smith, excellent job. Qualified in the last possible position, but was able to finish 26 laps down in 22nd and get +18. That's pretty damn good for Brad Smith. Gil Linzer was able to finish the race in 7th place where he started, so good on Gil. Scott Melton got involved in a crash, but he was able to survive and limp his car back to safety and get a solid +2 for one of the slowest cars in the field. 74 Mandy Chick got involved in that accident, self-spin, and got a -4 DNF. That's unfortunate. Brian Duzat, -12. He qualified 8th and finished mid-pack, so, that's kind of hoping for the best. At least he finished a race. C. Costner was the worst loss of the night. Qualified 17th, got caught up in a wreck early, finished 35th, -18. That's pretty bad. I feel sorry for him, but he did get caught up in a wreck, so I can't blame him too much. The wreck wasn't his fault. 97 Klitzmer for CR7, finished +4. Qualified in the top 10, finished in the top 6. That's pretty good. That's a pretty impressive stint. I may move him out of the backmarker category for that performance alone. Mason Mapples, a fast track, +14. That's pretty good. That's a pretty 50-50 night for Trackhouse. two somewhat wrecked cars, and then two cars finish 23rd and 21st. That's pretty good. Wayne Peterson, O'Leary, the fact they even finished the race is impressive, especially how slow that car is. So good route night for them. And Schofield finished 36th. That should be a negative. Now, let me just fix that real quick. But that should be a negative. So that's unfortunate, but that should be a -1. -22 for Schofield. I mean, what can you do? Get caught up in an accident? That's not your fault. I mean, what else can you do? And finally, let's look at the point standings for the race. The point standings show Venturini out front with Gus Dean's win. Of course, Dean isn't full time, so he's not going to stay up there that long. I think, if anything, Alst and Rose are going to be fighting for that lead, but Venturini with McLean in ninth there, she could definitely make a run for the title. Honestly, I'm okay with either her winning or Club or Rose, because I think even though Rose deserves it the most, McLean's just in a Venturini car, and Venturini cars are basically cheat codes at this point. And I'm kind of happy if there's a non-Venturini winner, but honestly, anybody but a Venturini car is a good winner in my book. But if McLean wins, I mean, a female ARCA champion's never happened before, so at least they can hang their hat on that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. We covered the highlights, covered the finishers, covered the DNQs, looked at the points. I think that's a pretty successful ARCA review video. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it. I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo!